Imagine for me flying a plane with a pilot who doesn't have a dashboard or access to any of the instruments they need. The plane started out full speed, fully booked, every seat occupied, and everything was normal. But then mid-flight, the screens all went black and the tower stopped responding with any communication about weather ahead, flight patterns. They went radio silent. That was the Fed this week, trying to land the plane completely blind. Why? Because we're on day 30 and counting of a government shutdown, and they didn't have any of the key data or economic reports they usually do when they head into a Fed meeting and make a decision about interest rates. The market felt the impact of this kind of landing. The Fed cut 25 basis points, and they did so saying that they were operating with incomplete economic data due to the ongoing shutdown. That means policy is being made, the plane is being flown full speed ahead without visibility. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, this is real, and it raises the risk of misjudging the economy, and for sure it impacts market confidence. When the Fed is tentative rather than confident in their announcement, the uncertainty bleeds into mortgage rates, which is why we saw them jump rather than improve on the news this week. That trickles down to borrower behavior, which impacts sellers through demand, and we're off to the races in not the best way. But in practical terms, we're still closing loans every day. Aside from properties in flood zones, I have to be honest that it's still pretty much business as usual here. And even for those properties in flood zones, you can obtain private flood insurance. It's more expensive, but after closing, when FEMA eventually does reopen one day, you could switch policies to a more cost-effective choice. The sad news is this government shutdown, of course, has impacts that go well beyond real estate. It's not necessarily happy hour conversation, and I don't know if I need to talk about it here, but I kind of feel like I do because it would be shallow to not address the hundreds of thousands of federal employees working without pay or on furlough. The economy is projected to have lost a cool $7 to $14 billion, and that will impact the GDP 2 full percentage points in quarter 4. This is, of course, the fault of the radical left, especially if you looked at HUD.gov. Because while the Republicans control the House, the Senate, the White House, and the Supreme Court, it's the Democrats that are not budging, and they're not budging on healthcare costs. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, without the expiring credits under the American Rescue Plan and the subsequent extensions of that plan, out-of-pocket premium payments among subsidized enrollees would increase 75 to 114%. So I want to make this real and understandable for you. The Democrats are fighting for an extension on benefits, but if it doesn't happen, that means families would see their premium increase tens of thousands of dollars next year. That's what they're digging their feet in on. Just an hour ago, though, a federal judge blocked the administration from cutting off food stamps for 42 million Americans. The Justice Department had argued that the SNAP program doesn't exist during a government shutdown, so there were no congressionally approved funds. Judge McConnell told them to go ahead and use the $6 billion in contingency funds that are congressionally approved to continue issuing SNAP benefits. His quote was, and yes, I do feel like I need to read this to you word for word, "There is no doubt, and it is beyond argument, that irreparable harm will begin to occur if it hasn't already in fact occurred in the terror it has caused some people about the availability of funding for food for their family." Looking ahead, as I said, we'll continue to close loans during the shutdown. It's not really stopping us. If it continues all the way to the next Fed meeting, my guess is they'll still cut 25 basis points. It's an educated guess based on what we're seeing in the labor market. This is the other half of the Fed's dual mandate. Keep inflation under control, support American jobs. By the end of September, U.S. employers had cut almost 1 million jobs, 950,000. That's the largest number of layoffs we've seen since 2000. This week, Reuters reported that Amazon was going to lay off 30,000 corporate employees. The next day, Amazon confirmed about half of those layoffs, but they did say they are expecting more layoffs to come. It's important to pay attention to these corporate white-collar layoffs because think about it. Who can afford to buy right now? On the other hand, The layoffs pressure the Fed to reduce borrowing costs to stimulate the economy. So there's an impact both ways. Other news, Zillow, our favorite real estate tech firm, is facing antitrust and legal pressure. They've had a no good, awful month, if we're being honest. There's several high-stakes lawsuits, including one from the FTC, one from CoStar Group for those copyright issues on those pictures, and the one from Compass that we've talked about before. Meanwhile, this isn't about Zillow. What I actually want you to be paying attention to is Cribio. It's a new consumer-facing site of the broker public portal. I shouldn't say new, it's a rebranded version of the site. It's designed to put the consumer first. So unlike Zillow, where the consumer becomes a monetized lead sold to realtors and lenders, Cribio doesn't even intend to really be profitable. They're saying that they just want to be a break-even alternative alternative platform compared to Zillow or Redfin. I posted a reel last week that got people very worked up about Rocket and Redfin, so I'm interested to hear what you guys think of Cribio. Could it be the answer to all our problems? Will consumers really break their Zillow habit? We're back for another Futurist Female event this fall, and our focus is confidence in your career, in your investments, in yourself. Because when you believe in you, I feel very, very strongly there are no barriers to your success. So keep in mind, this event is open to everyone across all industries. It's a great thing to invite your referral partners, your clients, your sphere to. You don't have to worry about who you're going to sit with. You don't have to worry about if this is an event to be seen at. You belong there. I want you there. So grab your ticket. It's November 18th, and every single dollar of the proceeds of this event will go directly to the Women and Children's Center of the Sierra. So while you're investing in yourself, you're also investing in our local community. I want to see you there.